Welcome back. It's 18 minutes past 6.
There's evidence this week of an increase in referrals for post-traumatic stress amongst ex-servicemen and women.
A charity which helps ex-soldiers says referrals have risen by 70% over the past 5 years. Andy Wilson, an SAS hero and veteran of Iraq, claims he had no help from the Ministry of Defence in diagnosing and treating his post-traumatic stress disorder.
I started getting flashbacks. Every time I shut my eyes, I could feel the bullet go into my head again. I was paranoid quite a lot of the time because I had PTSD and all that sort of stuff, and it scared me.
Andy Wilson isn't the man he used to be. His body is weakened, his mind altered.
I didn't know how to deal with emotions. I wasn't an emotional person. I mean, I hadn't cried for since I was a kid, you know?
This is how he used to be, the best of the best, an SAS soldier who served tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and countless missions he can't tell us about. He won awards for bravery.
It was the best job in the world. I had a great life, great standard of living.
In Afghanistan, Andy was lucky to escape death when a sniper's bullet lodged inside his helmet. This on top of the years of witnessing the horrors of war and seeing his friends die in battle slowly began to torment him.
I didn't sleep for maybe a year. I used to stay awake for 4 days. On the 5th day, I'd be totally shattered, so I'd basically fall asleep.
There are many in the armed forces like him. One charity is treating more than 4,500 ex-servicemen and women. The MOD says almost 1,000 new cases of mental disorder were diagnosed in the last 3 months of last year. That's a rate of 5 cases for every 1,000 men and women. But treating post-traumatic stress is complex. Andy says MOD psychologists failed to make any progress with him, so he turned to a mental health charity run by a former SAS veteran.
It just changed my life forever, you know, and basically it fixed me. I was fixed. I was totally cured of PTSD, and then I was at a point, how can I help Talking to Minds? They've helped me, now I want to help them, and now I'm just onwards and upwards all the way, you know.
Andy is now enjoying his recovery, but there will be many more who are still suffering the traumas of conflicts.
Bob Paxman, who you caught a glimpse of there just in that report, a former SAS soldier and now, of course, runs the charity helping soldiers combat post-traumatic stress. What more can the Ministry of Defence do to help soldiers in Andy's position?
Well, certainly they can start looking at other forms of therapy. The forms of therapy that they're using at the moment are very trauma-focused. And if you're working with somebody that has a trauma and you start getting them to talk more about the trauma, then it's just going to re-traumatise them. So if you look at everything that isn't the trauma as we do, then very quickly things can fall away. So I think they need to start looking at other things, other forms of treatment.
But there's an expectation, especially of special forces, that they are unbreakable, they are unstressable. That's why they're in the SAS or the SBS or whatever.
Well, certainly you stretch somebody's nervous system to a point. One man's nightmare is another man's playground, so eventually somebody is going to snap at some point in time. Everybody can take a level of stress to a point, so it's, you know, it's certainly worth looking at, is bringing in other forms of therapy.
The MOD has told us that it's a top priority for them, spending an extra $7 million on mental health, 30 more mental health professionals, 24-hour veterans counselling and support helpline. I mean, they're doing what they can, aren't they? What would you want to see more than what they're doing?
Well, from our perspective, we'd like to see them having a look at what we've got, because we've taken a non-medical approach, which is language-based, it's narrative-based, and we're getting phenomenal results with the people that they're not getting the results with, that the medical model isn't working with. So we've had well over 300 people through our programme now, and if you like, they're the worst cases, and they're getting well.
Can you give us an example of the kind of thing you do that they're not doing?
Well, we're looking at the root cause of the problem as opposed to the actual problem itself, because as soon as you start looking at the problem, the symptoms, then you're just running around in circles. So we're looking at the cause of the problem.
And how's Andy doing? Just briefly,
Andy's absolutely fine now. Yeah, he came on a 4-day course in November. We've had him on a subsequent course to deal with some other presenting symptomology, and he's absolutely spot on. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Bob, thanks very much for coming in. Best of luck with it all.
Thanks. You, Bob.